really cool stats to share with the group. I would have never thought Georgia, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Family reunion group.
So if you go over to the next page, it just breaks down the revenue per month for each location. Granted, in May, it was only about 12 days with the suspension. In June, we started back on June 8th. So June 8th to June 30th is the breakdown of revenue there. And also, too, as we all know, we had a bunch of snowy, weird days, weather days, kind of do that. I know we're short on time, so I just kind of wanted to give you guys a quick rundown. But as you see, the next page on the graph there, our average ticket price on Minor Street is $1.69. So that's the average ticket price that any customers ever pay. So kind of cool logistics is that there's nothing high. People aren't paying $2 to $4.
So they're not staying long.
Exactly. So they're rotating.
Shopping for a little bit.
So that equates to 90 minutes. So that's your average, and that typically is your average time at a restaurant. So just pretty cool logistics there. We kind of see in that on weekdays on the next page here, you can kind of see a breakdown of usage. We focused a lot on Minor Street here, and then on the next one, we're going to go into the main city lot. So as you can see, during the week, we kind of peak back up on Thursdays. And then we kind of notice our busiest day is obviously Saturday, with Sunday falling short behind. And then if you go back on the next graph there, and that is,
When you say tickets, just to be clear, you're talking payments.
correct,
Yeah.
transaction, sorry.
Used
Violations.
Okay.
Yeah, so, yeah, basically your transaction. And then the next one's your main city lot. Those are our two primary biggest focus right now, just because they're the highest volume. Main city lot's average price is about $2, so obviously the customers that park in the main city lot are staying longer. And
So if that's a 2-hour stop, does that include?
Hang on, we're gonna hang on for
Sorry.
questions.
Oh, okay, sorry, Mike.
and then you can kind of see the same breakdown on the next page with the pie graph, just running through what your busiest days are in the main city lot there. So most of your usage is obviously coming through on the weekends. You'll see a little bit bigger of a trend on Fridays now that school and things have let out. People kind of hit the road a little earlier to head up. And then with the back end pages here are our transaction reports that's starting on May 15th. This is kind of a breakdown of your pay station, who's using the app, your total revenue, and then citations and warnings that have been issued.
How many citations have we issued?
Over the course of the last 3 days, we did 192. Prior to that, I'd have to look it up.
These are warnings or citations?
We did 176 warnings, and the remainder were citations.
And what is on Minor Street in the back part of Minor? You see the most?
Yeah, oh yeah, Minor Street.
Is it the little yellow things that I've been seeing on the road?
The first one's a warning, second one's a citation, just in case. So your first warning is just kind of an overview of the parking, so you know for next time. It also said this is a warning, no further action is
Most of these
required.
travelers or local businesses or
And we are seeing a lot of the employees parking on the back wall there, freeing up all the space along Minor Street and in the main city lot. We've been seeing that a lot, and really good behavior from most of the businesses along Minor Street. We're getting about 15% usage right now in the app. Our goal is to try to get it up to about 40. So also it's a learning.
So most of it's going right through the kiosk.
Correct. So this is all just kind of factual information, just so you know what's happening on a daily basis. We broke it out by month, so you can kind of see May to June to July, how transaction volumes peaked since May.
Are we seeing citations in the permanent parking area for the residents?
Yeah, there have been.
Yeah, we've had about 4
And this is from somebody
calling.
calling in?
Correct.
Saying, hey, this car's been here a while.
So since
We
Thursday,
did away with people, company registering.
right,
And,
right, yeah. Since Thursday, the 4th of July, we've had 6 residents call us.
Yeah.
So, just a heads up on that. Just little minor things, and then also questions, and they ask to get more resident permit signs for their own yard, and they put them up, and certain things like that. A lot of good feedback from the residents on the ambassador side. We had a lot of them invite the ambassadors over
Ambassadors that
for barbecue.
had the project support yesterday, I go by, and I'll wave at them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what the ambassadors are supposed to do. They're supposed to be a part of our community. Send talk to our visitors and our residents and business owners, so.
Yeah.
Really good side.
We've also gotten a lot of good feedback from the ambassadors from the businesses along Minor Street as well, just complimenting like the service and the attention level and giving directions and also picking up trash. So,
Any complaints that you're hearing from the businesses?
I don't know, actually, we got several emails, Danny forwarded them along this morning in regards to how everybody is more excited because they're seeing volume turn in their restaurants versus people just camping out.
To the big people downtown, that's what they're saying.
Yeah,
Saying our seats are turning faster. People aren't hanging out and
right.
taking up space. And so, good positive feedback. Coin acceptors?
They will be installed by Friday.
We got 2 of them.
2 of them. One will be located on Minor Street and the other one on the main city lot. We'll have 2 signs coming this week that say coins accepted here. So everybody will know.
And the ambassador can direct them.
Sure, yeah.
One big cash.
Yeah.
Any questions, council?
How's the compliance in the residential parking areas? Do you have statistics on how many people are parking in areas that shouldn't be or anything?
We've only written 6 tickets since we started in June, end of June.
Are those warnings or those?
No, those were straight citations,
You get a warning first,
not on the residential
Not
side.
residential.
not the residential? You still know some of those areas are well marked or not?
Well, we've seen a huge request by residents where it's not really marked on Colorado because there are a lot of, it's private and you have the nice brick sidewalk where we didn't put post at, but a lot of those residents have actually requested signs for the residents, seeing that people are still parking there. And it's also been, we've had a huge presence, our ambassadors have actually had a huge presence in the residential area, so it's really deterring a lot of visitors from actually parking there by seeing them. And they've been a lot of them have been really nice about it. But the visitors, we're like, oh, you can't park here, residential area only, you can park here, here, and here. And we haven't had much complaints from.
We got to the point that we're seeing that people that are parking further away are affecting the other residents that aren't in the permanent parking area.
I haven't heard of anything. They brought something up this morning saying out fronts are getting a little crowded where it's not paid parking. And that's all I've heard.
That people are parking a few
Yeah,
blocks away
yeah.
too. So we haven't heard it's affecting residents. Because we want to keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
We said that if it starts moving and flowing into the residential areas that are just expanding the area, we get permanent parking, push it further out. Okay. Mary Jane?
Thanks, Mike. They have the free half hour, so that's not included in the time that you're estimating for people.
Only on Minor Street.
Right.
So yeah, it is included. So it's a factor into the volume, the dollar amount of transactions, yeah. Because you have to plug your plate in regardless if you're utilizing just the 30 minutes free. Therefore, it's not looked at as non-payment.
Okay.
I'm hearing people still say that they're not getting confirmation when they sign up. Is that still happening? Is that still a problem?
No, we talked about it this morning. We have an auto response email as soon as you do it. And yeah, so we
Okay.
And then over the last week, we've only had 2 people sign up. So I think
How
we're,
many, outside of the city limits have signed up?
I think it's 62. 62.
62 people outside of the city limits.
I had a 76-year-old tell me Charlie was on it, said it was the easiest app he'd ever seen.
Well, just in regards to the outlying areas, the walk between 9th and 10th is getting pretty busy, and we're seeing tons of people walking through. So we get big windows right there on the street. And then I've heard some complaints over around like 17th-ish, Virginia Canyon. So kind of some isolated areas that are closest, if you will. Or maybe those areas.
Is that on the big event days? 'Cause I would
Well,
think that on the
yeah, and
big
with
event
4th of
days,
July week.
You know, even the weekends like Saturdays when it's busy, we'll see a good volume of people walking down from the block of 9th and 10th. It's getting pretty tough up there. Typically bigger things too, you know, motorhomes and things like that. They can't find a spot, and then they're filling up 5 or 6 spots, and now those residents are struggling
How
to
do you
get
think we'll
spots.
handle that?
It's been-
Should we try to expand it out a little bit, down to 10? Let's go one more weekend before we do that.
Cause I could anticipate on the big event. weekend,
Well, we've
restriction.
got the, Bob Cook coming up on the 13th, that's next weekend.
And you can see it, I'm
It's
sure,
gonna
happen.
I'm sure it's gonna happen.
They're saying they're bringing 900 cars at this community.
That's the 13th is the triple bypass, which starts in Evergreen. So it's not.
Bob Cook's later.
Later.
That's
That,
right.
that has bigger.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I had to take
And the
some-
bikes are tough because they're there all day.
I'm sorry, Mike?
The bikes are kind of tough because they're there all day, or you know, for the same problem with the parking lot.
Yeah.
They just move a couple blocks with the
Yeah.
bike. So it's, I don't know what the answer is, but there's a little bit of that. And then 15th, the backpack 15th from Center Highway Carnival Road. There's still no signs either side, and that's been.
Yeah, we've still got some signs on order.
I know you're working on it, but I just, you know.
Okay.
How do the shuttles work?
John's not here. I know there were people riding it, I saw it. and,
Some people have stops.
Yeah. We found a nice trolley for 20 grand that we might think about purchasing.
John said about 300 patrons.
300?
Yeah.
Yeah. I know that people were walking all over town this weekend. It was-
But 300 I thought was a home run.
Yeah, for the
It
day.
was excellent for the first ridership.
Yes.
Yeah.
And is indicative of what is potential need going forward. I think it's something that would be a really premier, well-used item and appreciated locally in the community for those of people in the situation.
Another big thing that I've seen, you know, this goes back to the sidewalks and everything, that people are walking out of the hotels and they're walking downtown.
Yeah.
They're not getting in their car and going downtown and parking. So if you say that there's 100 parking places in the hotel, we're really gaining, even if we went half, 50 parking places down here because they're not getting in their car driving, they're getting on the sidewalk and walking down.
Sure. They pay for that parking space as part of their room. Having been in the motel business, we figured that in, their costs. All in.
Okay, any more? Yes, paper.
I was just gonna ask, are you getting a lot of the same, frequently asked questions that kind of point to, maybe something in the system that needs to be clarified or fixed or something? Like, are the ambassadors getting a lot of the same questions?
I think mostly is the coin acceptance, when we will get that installed and get that in. And then a lot of the things are just, where are the free lots, where do motorhomes go, like where do oversized vehicles park. And really and truly, that's about the main 3 things that we get.
Okay. All right, council, we need to get into our regular meeting by 7. We got 1 minute.
That's good.
Sounds like it would. And like I said,
we typically, we have 520 parking stalls on Minor Street Saturday alone. Do you think of that? Why would, you don't need to build a parking lot yet? If they keep turning.
I do have
Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you all. Sorry, I was trying to go as fast as I could.
Thank you.
I see the rest of the time go that way. That's how true don't break that.
Are there if they were being
West End, the faster.
Take it.
Just as a reminder.
And then-
Bye, take care.
Thanks very much.
It's not mine. You're still at Jen's. I'll pay one. I'll pay it. Okay, I'll sit there.
So Chris, I did ask for one.
I was just reading that, yeah, there you go. Oh, okay.
You ready for that? You are on your game. Thank you.
All right, it is 7:03. Thanks for everybody that's here tonight. We're going to the work session also. It is 7:02, our regular scheduled meeting for Monday, July 8th, 2019. And I have roll call, please.
Michael Hellman.
Here.
Scott Pennell.
Here.
Tracy Stokes. Here. Bob Boland.
Here.
John Curtis.
Please stand. There's allegiance with us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. We have an agenda in front of us with an amendment from Chief. So we'll add that under PD. All right.
I move to approve the agenda for the July 8th, 2019 meeting as amended.
Do I have a second? Discussion. Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move to conflict of interest. I do have a conflict of interest tonight. I'm gonna have a modification of my premises at the wildfire, and so at that time I will come sit in the audience and be a business owner and a citizen. Minutes. Everybody read through the minutes.
First time I'd like to approve the minutes from the regular meeting on June 24th, 2019.
Do I have a second? Second. And discussion? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We will move on to the bills. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve bills to July 8th, 2019.
And do I have a second? And discussion? The egg dispatch for 15,450, John, is that, where was that at?
That was just various locations around town. 13th was one of them. There was a couple on Virginia and,
Wall Street? Is that part of that Wall
No.
Street? No?
well, it was a small curb on Wall Street.
Okay.
But it was just various patches where we had to repair either water mains, sewer mains, where the street was just falling.
We got the one on 13th, right? That
Yes,
was-
we did.
Okay. Anybody else got anything? Hearing none, roll call.
Michael Hellman.
Yes.
Scott Pennell.
Yes.
Tracy Stokes.
Yes.
Bob Boland.
Yes.
John Curtis.
Do I have any unscheduled public comment?
Yes, sir.
No? All right, we will move down to the liquor license authority. We will come out of our regular scheduled meeting and move into the liquor licensing authority. Do I have a motion?
I will move to move into the liquor licensing authority.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right, fill in as Mayor Pro Tem here briefly for the mayor. And this hearing will now come to order. This is a public hearing before the Liquor License Authority of the City of Idaho Springs to take testimony for consideration to modify the licensed premise for Hill Daddies in Incorporated doing business as Wildfire Restaurant located at 2910 Colorado Boulevard. Person signed up for public comment will be sworn in by the city clerk. The order of this hearing will be as follows. Staff report, followed by the applicant, and then followed by public comment and testimony. Well, this hearing is now declared open. The time is 7:07, looks like. And so at this time, let's go with the staff report.
Mayor and Council, in accordance with CRS 44-3-311, the notice of public hearing to be held by the Liquor Authority concerning the above referenced application was published in Clear Creek Current on June 19, 2019, and is marked as Exhibit A, and was posted on the premises on June 24, 2019. In accordance with CCR Regulation 47-302, City staff has conducted an investigation of the criteria for the modification of premise of a liquor license. The criteria the local licensing authority are required to apply, followed by the city's investigatory findings on the same are as follows, and it is listed in my staff report.
All right, sounds like everything is in order. Any questions from the council? Okay, we'll move on to a statement from the applicant, please. And identify yourself.
Mike Gilman, resident 1910 Minor Street.
Do you swear the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I did. Thank you. Thanks, council, for having me come before you. What this is about is when I did my original liquor license, I had identified the areas of storage and serving areas, never thinking that I would later, 15 years later, want to put a tap system into my building, and that's going to require me to store beer into the basement. There's a 65, almost 70-year-old walk-in down there that we just modified, put a refrigeration system in, and I'm asking for approval to be able to carry, store, and have beer in my basement, and spirits also.
Okay, any questions from staff or council?
Is the spirits stored on shelves? Is that what the plan is? Or?
I just put spirits on there in case I wanted to take the hard liquor and store it down there. I didn't want to have to come back to council, and this is actually my second month.
No new product or anything like that.
I'm sorry?
Yeah, it's no new product. You already have that.
I have a full liquor license, yeah. So it's the same. You know, if I decide that I just want to store the Jack Daniels in the basement, that's the way I wanted to make sure that I had the whole basement area covered. Diane and I looked through my application and see if I wrote basement on it, my original, and couldn't find it. So here I am. This is my second modification in the last couple of years. The other was the expansion of serving area on my patio, and then I redid that.
Did you previously store any beer or spirits in the basement before this?
No.
And what are your security procedures and how do you secure that area? I mean, how many people have access to it?
And
any worker could go down there, and of course the beer vendors would be taking the product down there.
is there more than one entry into that area? Or?
There would be an outside area where, if you look at the diagram where it says storage up top,
Yeah.
that's got like motorcycles in it. It's a storage area. This would be the only access is down the stairs, through the back door, the front door, down the stairs.
And you have adequate security outside with cameras and such? No? Okay.
No.
But you feel that it's very
But it's-
secure?
Oh yeah, it's definitely it's yes.
Alarm system?
I've been very
Locks
fortunate
on the
that I've never
doors,
had a problem with that. There's people living in the building, so, and they do not, the residents do not have access to that area. They don't have access to the restaurant.
Okay, anyone have, that's it, all right, I guess that's enough, Mr. Ramley.
Thank you.
All right, this time we'd like to turn to public testimony, and Andy, we can check and see if
There's not?
no one has signed up. Okay, that being the case, I will now close this hearing at 7:11, and would like to go into council discussion. And we don't necessarily have to have discussion, we can go right into a motion. So, Okay. If there's no discussion, then do we have a motion to approve the modification of the premise for Hill Daddies Incorporated doing business as Wildfire Restaurant located at 2910 Colorado Boulevard?
I move to approve the application for modification of premises of Hill Daddies ADPGA Wildfire Restaurant at 2910 Colorado Boulevard based on the findings that the applicant meets all criteria set forth in Colorado Liquor Regulations 74-302.
Okay, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any additional discussion, council? Okay, we need a roll call.
Scott Pennell,
Yes.
Tracy Stokes. Yes. Bob Boland,
Yes.
John Curtis.
Yes.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, council.
I will
Here's in a couple of days.
I will turn the gavel over.
Thanks, Bob. Okay, we will move on. We will move back into our regular meeting out of the Liquor Licensing Authority. And we'll move down to staff reports. Andy?
Mayor and Council, you have my report before you with no request for action. There is one slight correction on upcoming events. The groundbreaking ceremony for the I-70 westbound peak period shoulder lane project will actually be held behind Bojo's, not in Buffalo. Slight change in location there. And it's this Thursday, July 11th at 9 a.m. And the governor and the CDOT director will both be there.
All right. Anything else for Andy? Diane?
And Council, I have my staff report for your review with no request for action.
Righty. Diane, have we had anybody come in about the parking, having a problem here in the city hall? Been pretty quiet.
No problems, no complaints. We just, when they can't sign up, we give them the information and calm down considerably.
What about water rates? Any complaints?
Yes.
So are we referring them to the studies and information that is directly available online from the city website? For people that have those inquiries and the dates of how far back those discussions have occurred?
All right, any more questions for Diane?
Probably the more information we get them on water rates, the better, right? The reason that that's forced to go that way.
It's all online data from that.
I'm hoping that once people understand that we did our part in promising the community that we would see if the businesses were carrying their own load, and we found out that the citizens were actually looked like they were subsidizing a little bit, and that's why we redid this. So most of the residents aren't going to see the normal increase that we have put in place, and the businesses are unfortunately going to have to take on more responsibility. And we only have so many people that are sharing the cost of our services, and it's unfortunate that all of us as residents and business owners are having to pay up. Okay, anything else for Diane? Chief?
Mayor and Council, I will refer you to my report. I do have 2 requests for action. The first is I'd like to be able to dispose of one of the 2005 Crown Victorias that are still in our fleet. The city of Georgetown is looking for vehicles that they can modify for the PIC training, police interceptor training. And that vehicle is rarely used. It's a spare. It's recently been replaced by a pickup truck, which is more suitable for some of our needs off in some of the remote areas and utility. Thanks to Dan, gave us one of his public works trucks. So I'd like to request that we be permitted to dispose of that vehicle by transferring it to Georgetown.
Okay. And your second ask, Chief?
The second request is the City Council at the beginning of the fiscal year was very gracious in giving us $9,000 to outfit our 3 members of the SWAT team with heavy armor, helmets, communications equipment, and the like. Since I made that request, the team has secured the radio equipment through Lakewood, they gave us their old equipment and they upgraded. So that expense is no longer needed. I'd like to, permission from the council to redirect that money to buy each officer their own personal flotation device for the river rescue operations we occasionally get involved in. I think it's very important, and rather than us switching between cars and shifts, that no matter where an officer is, they should be able to respond to a river emergency. So we would like those vests fitted and in their cars with their throw bags.
Okay,
Would that speed the emergency rescue? I'm sure.
Well, it would. I mean, there are times when the guys are coming down the hill from other areas where they're coming to work and they're not on yet, where they can immediately go to the call, or we don't have to worry about the equipped car being in Georgetown or at St. Anthony's. So by equipping every car and outfitting them the same, regardless
is
of
that a
what
life vest or for them to, they're not trained for swiftwater rescue?
they are not trained to be immersed. They are, those that aren't already trained are going to receive the training and use of the throwback. But the reason they have the throwback and the vest is in the event that they get pulled into the river.
Sure. Okay, all right, do I have a motion?
Is this standard for us to transfer ownership? I mean, this isn't anything out of the ordinary, right? Okay. I'll move to approve the transfer of ownership of one remaining 2005 Crown Victoria to Georgetown PD.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion. Hearing none, roll call.
Michael Holmes?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
Tracy Stokes? Yes. Bob Bowman?
Yes.
John Burns?
Yes.
All right, do I have a second motion for the chief's request?
Move to reallocate a portion of the 2550 towards purchasing each officer an appropriately sized PFD with throw bag that will be placed in each vehicle for immediate access.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any more discussion? Roll call.
Michael Herman?
Yes.
Scott Pennell?
Yes.
Tracy Stokes? Yes. Bob Bowman?
Yes.
John Burns?
Yes.
Thank you. Chief, would you give us an update on the reverse 911 call that happened the other day?
Yes. What had happened is there was a 16-year-old. He was part of a rafting party. He was with his mother and two sisters, and there was a family disagreement evidently, and he walked off from the family. So we had concerns that he might harm himself. So we initiated a search. We searched for him, a regular active search until 9 p.m. About that time, he called from Golden and said he got a ride to his father's house. So the purpose of the reverse 911 call was in the event that anybody in town, if they saw someone matching this description, they would give us a call.
Okay, good. That ended well. That's good.
All right, any other questions for the chief? And we will move down to John Bordoni, Public Works.
Mayor, Council, I refer to my staff report. I do have one request for action for additional work that needs to be done on the water wheel that was discovered as Mr. Wallace was working on it. Some of the spokes have started to split and bolts have started to pull through the spoke. So now, instead of putting it back together and a few years taking it back apart, I would like to get that taken care of now. Unfortunately, I failed to put a line item on there. It would be out of the same line item. We do have adequate money in that.
You have a line item here. That's not.
Yeah.
2161.70.42.
Never mind, I put it on there. I can't read either. So.
Okay, do I have a motion?
Move to approve $13,000 to Wallace Landscaping, additional repairs to the water wheel from line 21-61-7042.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? I'll just say that Scott Wallace did come to me and told me that there were some other issues. And as John said, I think it's wise for us to, why were these there, whether they've already got to go on, let's just get it done and not have to worry about it for a while.
Is this estimated time period of how long it'll last? It's hard to tell, right?
It's been since 1985, it was originally built, and then we've taken care of minor issues since then, but as far as being rebuilt, this is the first time since then.
Bearings are good, you checked.
We changed the bearings a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Here, over here.
Yeah, we replaced the bearings.
What kind of wood is that? That's a remarkable lifespan.
He's actually, the original was marine grade plywood, and it had several coats.
Oh, that's in the buckets.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
All right, roll call?
Michael Hammond.
Yes.
Jeff Now.
Yes.
Lisa Stone. Yes. Earl Bowman.
Yes.
John Curtis.
All right, Dan? There's no request for action, but we're gonna ask you how the project's going.
It's going good. So this turned it in early because of the holiday last week. They're still finishing up the last layer of gravel, so they should be ready for concrete here this week, start next week. So they're getting ready to pour the grip chamber tomorrow, and it should be a lot less headaches going up from here. So good shape.
Great, thanks for keeping up that, with that list. Anybody have any questions for Dan? We're doing bi-weekly updates from JVA.
Yeah, if you wanna, I can forward you the invitation.
Yeah, I'd like to forward those to be forwarded to myself and John Curtis. John's gonna start showing up as well. Just kind of help us keep up with the progress and what's going on. Please. Okay, hearing, no other questions for Dan? All right, committee reports.
Just an update, I heard, I sit on the board for project support, and they have gone through some pretty significant restructuring and reorganization where the thrift shop is concerned, and of course that is the primary funding mechanism for project support. So we're really excited moving forward with the future, but they had some concerns, as probably any business did in the very beginning, about parking, but they've had some monster-sized days. With bus groups going through there and are hosting some of the best days the thrift shop has ever had in the last couple of weeks. And so we look forward to seeing continued progress and quality merchandise coming in that'll be a higher price. There's lots of great things happening over there. So they seem very pleased with their progress to this point with the thrift shop.
Good. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, Mayor and Council, anything from Mayor and Council? I think that we're gonna continue to be busy in town. I think some of the loss of business in June because of the weather is starting to overflow into July. So just expect it to be very busy. Everything goes well. Okay, it is 7:24 and meeting is adjourned.
And the time of the year was half the day, I thought.
All right.